Hi, I'm Tony Stefani with Hillside Christmas Tree Farm, and today we're going to do some field cleanup after our season. It is January 13th. It is a pretty nice day considering January. No snow, maybe in the 20s. No clouds. You know, if you live in kind of the winter area, there are nice 20-degree days and there are cold 20-degree days. It's a nice 20-degree day, so we're going to do some field cleanup. I think in the other previous videos we've talked about how we will kind of basal prune up if we want to save a tree. You know, maybe the weeds get too high and the needles fall off, needle cast or something like that. But we have some fir that we kind of cleaned up, and we have some high stumps. We don't want to leave those in the field while we're mowing and things like that, because they'll destroy mowers. And actually what we do is we use these in our fire pit during our sale season outside. So we're going to use our brush cutter, and I'll get the drone going, and we'll clean up the field a little bit. All right, before we get started, I want to talk about it. I've gotten a lot of questions about what model and the skid bar and just how this thing kind of works in general. So this is a Shindaiwa B450, I think, brush cutter, and it's a professional grade. I will put as many links as I can down in the description about it. And what we see on this end, put it up here, is what we call the skid bar, and it clamps onto here and goes under. And what this does is, when you're cutting down trees, say you're using this thing for harvest, you can kind of feel under the tree for the stump, and as this thing is spinning, it's going to keep it from kicking out on you. And I've cut things on this side, and the whole head will want to push away, right? Because things are spinning, and you're pushing forward to cut the tree, and it's trying to kick out just because that's how it's spinning. So this bar keeps it in line, and you are able to push through the tree. And little tips my dad always says: you don't want to force it, right? Because there is a like a gear in here, and if you jam it, you'll break it. So you want to let the saw obviously cut the tree, and you just guide it in. You can hear the engine bog down, and there's a clutch and things like that, just like a chainsaw works. And so you just guide it in, and you'll hear, like I said, bog down. Then you'll back out if it's a bigger tree, and then you'll rev it up again and just do multiple cuts. Earlier today I was cutting, 8 to 10 inch pine. And sometimes you have to work around the tree because you can only use, basically half the blade, and it gets it done. So this thing is a fantastic tool. We've had it since, before we moved out here. I remember Dad would work the cutter, and I would be kind of pulling the trees back and laying them down. So this thing's probably 15, 20 years old at this time, so it works. One thing we do after every time is we run it completely empty to keep the carb going. And another thing, the handles are offset, obviously, because it's on one side. You want to move over, but what you're kind of doing is you're using your leg to guide it in. And one of the things about it, after every time I'm done using it, is I am sore in my quad there, just from pushing on this thing so much. So you're kind of guiding into the tree and cutting them down. Makes real quick work, a lot easier than bending down with a chainsaw or something like that. So awesome tool.
is the last stump to be cleaned up. The next step is to gather all these stumps and stack them for use in our fire pit for next year. We will do this before the grass starts growing and the kids are around to help. As I mentioned, this would be a lot of bending down and cutting with a chainsaw. This brush cutter is definitely the way to go. Thanks for watching.